right? All this. That's awesome. And it's like, how powerful is that? Hi friends, welcome back. All of the peeps that have been trucking along and coming along with me on this journey, and all of the new people that are watching this video for the first time. I am so excited to finally talk about meditation with you guys. This is something that all of my clients want to get the deets on and really just get this information down so that they can really connect to their higher selves and their guides. So if this is information that you really would like to know and have, stay tuned. Here we go. All right, so the first thing I want to explain is that there's no really wrong way to meditate. And so I'm going to give you guys a couple of different examples that you probably have been doing. You've probably already been channeling. You've probably already been meditating. You just never realize that you do and that you are, okay? So let me explain that. Have you guys ever had that moment where you're doing dishes or driving or whatever you're doing and you kind of check out? A lot of runners will tell me that they do that too. They'll just be doing something and it's like a repetitive rhythmic thing, and all of a sudden you just check out. You just go somewhere else in your mind, and then you snap out of it and you're like, whoa, I was totally lost there for a second. That stillness, my friends, is meditation, right? So cool. So what I'm saying is, when we are in a state, sometimes we need physical movement or something to entertain a certain part of our brain so that the other part of ourselves can actually have stillness. So yes, it can be from Tai Chi and yoga and running and some type of, we call that moving meditation. So if you are a total busybody, if you find yourself you feel like you're that kind of person that just cannot sit still, that's the kind of meditation for you. And you can achieve that stillness with keeping the physical body entertained and moving, right? So you probably do it more often than you realize. Cool? Another great way for beginners, I think, is guided meditation. So you are hearing and listening to somebody guide you through a meditative process. They usually have some type of a theme, like better sleep, de-stressing, healing your body, whatever it is, but they will guide you through this process and you will hear what they're saying, and it gives your brain something to do, and you're actually able to follow along the process. I found guided meditation really helpful for me in the beginning. So I think that's a great way for a beginner to start to train their brain. And that's all meditation is. It's you training your brain to do what you want it to do and find that stillness and find that inner peace. Now, I've said a couple of times before on videos, I do a morning meditation. It's quick, it's 5 minutes. It doesn't have to take a long time, but I call it my check engine light meditation. So I start at my feet and I go through every chakra I have, and I just kind of feel it. I kind of feel in every chakra, am I grounded? Do I feel like my emotions are off? Do I feel like I am ready to love the world and myself today? How is my throat chakra? If it does feel off, I will right then and there ask why and investigate. It may feel off because I got a lot of stuff to do today and a lot of things on my mind, and that's okay. But knowing that gives me the opportunity to know today I need to make sure that I give myself a little compassion or give myself more time or make sure that I drink enough water or whatever it is that I'm guided to do to accommodate that, right? So I call it my check engine light. So if you were to look at your car and your car needed more fuel, you'd gas up, right? If you feel like there was something off, you can correct it, or at least have a little bit of an insider tip to kind of know how your body's going to react and respond today. Now, when you get used to doing a guided meditation, doing your moving meditation, and you have found that stillness, which I'm going to talk to you guys about why it's so freaking hard sometimes to find that stillness in just a minute, but that stillness is this beautiful space. So I want you guys to realize that our brain does not stop even when we are sleeping, okay? And for those of you little light workers and starseeds out there, that's when you go on your missions. That's when you have these crazy, trippy, realistic dreams and you're like, wow, what a weird dream. No, my friend, you were off fighting battles and kicking butt somewhere else, right? So for many of us, not only is it a time where we don't stop thinking, but we're actually super busy, right? So our brains have not been trained or taught to just be still. So when you can get to a moment in your meditation, and I don't care if it's 3 seconds, because when I first started really trying to meditate in my teens, I would sit and meditate, and for like 3 seconds, I'd be like, totally stillness. And I'd be like, oh my God, I think I'm meditating. And I'd interrupt my own meditation, and then that would get frustrating, right? So know that it will happen in small doses and increments, and then you can start to do it almost more and more on command. And you may be able to hold that silence and that stillness for a little bit or for longer stretches of time, but that's really what we're looking for. I even had a client not too long ago that was telling me that she was trying to like channel and connect to her guides, and every time she'd sit and meditate, she's like, it's just like this still, quiet place. And I'm like, you're nailing it. I'm like, what are you talking about? That's perfect, right? And so that brings me to another thing. We need different types of meditation for different reasons and things. So in the morning, I do my check engine light. Sometimes I feel like I just need to like rejuvenate and reconnect with this, right? All this. And so other times I'm going to prep for a video for you guys, or I'm doing a mediumship with my clients. Like I'm talking to their past loved ones, and I am in a sense channeling, and that's a type of meditation in itself. But like I need to be like really connected. I need to download information. I need to interpret information. And so I didn't get there until I figured out that stillness. Because if it's super loud and chaotic in here, then I'm not going to be able to hear my guides. I'm not going to be able to hear my higher self, my angels, and therefore get the messages I need for me, or the messages I need for you guys, right? And this is why I do this. I do this for you guys. I do this for my clients, right? So to me, that is the beautiful place to start, is that stillness, right? So if you guys are there, you are nailing it. You're doing an awesome job. And I want you to really sit in meditation and focus on you yourself. When you really feel like you've done a good amount of that, then start to interact with your guides, then start to interact with your angels, because you'll have the silence, and you'll know when you have all of a sudden your brain starts chatting and you have these thoughts or answers come to you, you'll realize that it's not your brain. You're actually downloading information and channeling. So a lot of you guys probably already do that too. I am not shocked. Because you're drawn to this video in the first place. So there's your validation and confirmation, right, for you. But here is, don't worry, I didn't count some of you guys out. If you're like, I still have no idea what she's freaking talking about, then here is why you guys are hitting a meditation blockage, okay? I'm going to explain it. So for thousands of years, they have called a part of your brain the monkey mind. Monks have called it the monkey mind. In current day and age and new age stuff, we call it the ego. Well, let me tell you what I call it. I call her Karen, because she's a big you-know-what and really irritating and very dramatic, and I'll explain all of that. So there is two parts of our brain. There's one that allows us to consciously be doing the dishes, and the other part of our brain, or physically operating the machine, doing the dishes, and the other part of our brain that checks out, right? So it's almost like, I want you guys to think of it as if we have like two things going on, or two brains, right? You have yourself, and then you have Karen. I'm gonna call her Karen, okay? So let me explain Karen to you, okay? Karen is quite dramatic. She is somebody that loves drama, okay? So as soon as anything stirs up within you, emotions or something's off, and you're trying to meditate and trying to find your peace, and your brain wanders and you're like, oh my God, I'm really hungry. Karen takes that distraction and takes any emotion or drama, and she just hops in the driver's seat, and she just takes you right off track, and she starts doing donuts in the friggin' parking lot while you're like, whoa, what happened, right? And Karen is like, oh my gosh, don't forget about the bills you have to pay, and oh, don't forget about this, and did you hear that dog barking next door? Oh, how annoying is that? And she just loops and loops and loops. And I know some of you guys are probably cracking up because this happens in your brain while you're meditating, okay? That is Karen in a nutshell. She's distracting, she's annoying, and a lot of times for those of you that are like big time overthinkers and worrywarts, that is Karen. Karen is the one in your brain that's like, oh my God, you're gonna hit every red light, and you're gonna totally be late for work, and then you're gonna be written up again, and you're totally gonna be fired, and no way, okay? That is Karen, that is not you. So how do we distinguish when Karen has the wheel and you have the wheel? Okay, you've never told that part of your brain to sit down and shut up. And you need to get a little bit forceful with Karen, and you need to tell Karen, it's time that you sit down and shut up, because you're not allowed to have the wheel all the time. You can have the wheel like a little bit of a time, little bit, that's it, Okay, so how do we know when she has the wheel? Number one, she loops. Karen loops, and it's the same conversation and the same self-talk that's negative self-talk, right? All of that, right? She does that, right? When you are on the right track, when you are hearing yourself in your head and you're like, oh my God, we just totally nailed that. What a great job. I'm a little bit worried about this going smoothly, but you know what? I'm just going to go with it. That is you. That is you. That is your higher self. That is you, like on the right track. When you take a weird left turn and start looping, that's Karen. So how do you stop that from happening, right? And it's an everyday battle, so don't think it's ever going to just end, right? But you need to train yourself to stop when you see yourself looping and ask yourself, that part of your brain, is it true? Because guess who can't answer that? All the scenarios I just gave you. Oh my God, we're going to hit every red light. We're going to be late. We're going to get fired. What did they mean by that? Do they not like me? Is it true? Karen cannot answer that question. If it's you, is it true? Well, yeah, I'm really struggling and I don't know. A lot of people applied for that promotion and they're also equally qualified, so I may not get it. Is it true? Yeah, it's a possibility, right? That may be very true, but Karen loves the drama. So she just throws a bunch of salt and pepper drama on that, and it's like a chemical reaction, right? So Karen can't answer the is it true question. So that is number one. That will tell you who has the wheel, Karen or you, okay? The ego and the monkey mind and Karen or you. But I do want to point out something very important. We don't want to kick her out and slam the door behind her, right? Karen's important. She has value, because when you're walking home late at night and it's dark and you're like, oh, I'm going to take the shortcut. Karen's the one that pipes up and says, I don't know if I'd walk down that dark alley by myself. You might get murdered. And guess what? Karen has a point. So our ego, Karen, is a way that helps us to keep ourselves in check, to keep us alive, to help us to analyze something to the fullest of our ability, right? Karen's not all bad. The thing is that Karen shouldn't have the wheel all the freaking time, okay? So let's loop this back to meditation. When you are meditating and your brain is just rambling and rambling and rambling and rambling like that, Karen has the wheel, and you can tell Karen, all right, Karen, it's time that you sit down and shut up, because now is not the time. It's a hush time. It's stillness time. And this isn't time for you to be all chatty, okay? So it's okay to do that. Right? Now, I will say that takes practice. Just like an unruly little monkey with tambourines in your head, she's going to do that because nobody's ever told her to sit down and be quiet. You've never trained that kind of muscle in your brain. You've never trained yourself. Don't get frustrated. She's like a little child that just wants attention. She's like, mom, right? She just wants attention, right? Don't be so forceful with it. Just be like, shh, we're meditating right now. Hush. We're meditating right now. Just keep doing that, right? Visualizations help. I used to take a mental broom and sweep off to the side and keep sweeping. And every time I'd have a thought, nope, sweep it. I've heard other people say that they'll visualize during their meditation, a little babbling brook or river in front of them. And every thought that rambles like that, it's like a leaf, and they'll just keep watching it. The whole point is that you're not engaging Karen. You're not engaging her. You don't have to engage her. You can just be like, shh, yep, good point. It's lunchtime. Yep. But we're not going to talk about that right now. Shh, right? Okay. So hopefully that will help some of you guys that are having some of that mental distraction. Here is the other hilarious thing, you guys. This is so funny, and I didn't understand this until a couple years ago. When I started meditating and I really started getting good at finding that stillness, and I was battling it out with Karen, I would get so frustrated that I finally kind of got Karen to be quiet, and then a dog would bark. You probably heard squeaking right now. It's the branches against the window. Today it's windy again. And so I would get really frustrated. I'd be in meditation and I'd have Karen all hushed and I'm like, stillness is great. I'm feeling it, right? And then a dog would start barking, the phone would ring, I'd get a text, whatever, right? And I get so irritated because it would pull me out and I'm like, oh, my hard work, right? And I'd try to get back. It wasn't until years later, a decade later, that I started doing Reiki, right? I'd start doing Reiki, and instead of, I'd go to my stillness, and then I would receive information about this person's healing and what they needed, and their guides and angels, and my team would help, and this would be this really cohesive thing. And so that was awesome, right? I was getting information that I once interpreted as distraction, right? So now I'm getting information, and now I'd sit and have 3-4 conversations at the same time. I talk with my guides and somebody's past loved ones, and receive and interpret that information telepathically, then have actual sentences come out of my mouth, talking to the person in front of me, and then seeing and feeling and hearing their response, answering a question, or they have a question, so that I talk back, and then so I am literally doing this the whole time. And it cracked me up when I realized that my training, and the reason why the dog would bark and the phone would ring, it was to force me to realize that I need to go back to my still and be quiet and listen. Go back to my still, quiet and listen. And it was forcing me to constantly find that stillness, even amongst the storm, even amongst all of the distractions, the Karen, the dog, the phone. I could still find stillness. How powerful is that? That you can still find the stillness amongst the storm and chaos. That's awesome, right? That's where you guys are headed, and that's where you are going to be. I promise you. Don't get frustrated. I believe in you guys. I know you guys can do this. Meditation is so healing and powerful for you guys. And I cannot wait. Please, I want you to comment below. I want you guys to tell me about some of your experiences. I answer every single comment I get. And I love hearing about that stuff. So I want you guys to try some of these techniques. So last few tips here is, it helped me to, in the beginning, to create a place in my mind. Sometimes for a long time, I would just in my mind visualize walking along the beach. And when I felt like I was getting close to that stillness, I would sit down and I would meditate in the sand, and I'd feel the sun in my face, and I'd hear the birds and the ocean waves, and I was really in that space. Another place I created, which is super fun. I really think you guys should do this. Totally try this if you haven't. Create a meditation room or space. So I would visualize myself walking through a forest. I'd walk up to the same tree every time. I'd go inside of the tree, and it was 10 times bigger inside, right? And I would have, inside the tree was this beautiful meditation room, and I created that space. Nobody knew how to get into that tree but me. It was mine and mine alone. It had beautiful things in it. I would sit on a cute little pillow with my back up against the tree, and I would meditate. It creates a safe place that Karen can't get into, that all your random thoughts can't get into, and it creates this stillness, this room for you to be in. So that really helped me as well. Hold on, my guides were actually telling me something, and see, I got a little distracted. There's a whole lot of, stuff going on in there. Okay, so they're saying that, oh, this is interesting. I never thought about this. So they're saying the reason why I used the beach or a tree was because that's how we ground ourselves, is nature. So visualizing yourself somewhere in nature, on top of a mountain, floating in a cloud, it doesn't matter, but somewhere where nature is involved with that process will help to really ground your energy. And visualize your feet on the ground. Even if you're not, if you're laying in bed, visualize your feet on the ground. And they're telling me that that's really powerful and very, very helpful. And in both instances, I never thought about it, but in both instances, my feet were always on the ground. So that's really cool. I'm glad that they kind of chimed in and pointed that out, because I don't think I would have ever thought about it like that. So if you guys have any questions on this, please comment below. I love to answer your guys' comments. I definitely take time out of my day to do that, because I'm here to support you guys. I love that you guys are here. I love anything that I have to offer and give you, wisdom, knowledge, experience-wise. I will just dump that out. I am hoping one day that you guys have that far surpass me, and you're like, oh, I remember those cute videos I used to watch from Ashley Dawn back in the day, and that you channel the Galactic Alliance one day and all that kind of stuff. But until you get there, try baby steps. It's all good. Just try these baby steps. These are helpful little tools that will kind of get you guys going on this awesome journey if you're not there already. And if you guys are kind of there already, this is always a wonderful and helpful reminder, because we all get life throwing us curveballs, and sometimes we find it difficult to actually sit and meditate. So I want to leave you guys with that. I wanted to keep this video a little bit shorter. And as always, I will send you all the love and light, my friends.